Welcome back to Raising Whitetails, a podcast of our journey as new deer farmers for the new deer farmers. I'm your host, Aaron Haig, and with me is my dad, Jeremy Haig, the owner of Haig Valley Whitetails, and my brother, Isaac Haig. Today, we are talking about our experience of handling our deer for the first time as beginner deer farmers.
So this is how handling the deer is supposed to go. Here's our test deer Caleb. He's walking down the lane. They come to the first guillotine gate to get into what is the exit pen. Turn left and go all the way down 100 feet to the guillotine gate to get into the entrance pen. I'm closing the gate behind him to make a small exit pen to go back out to the pens in the end. I open that guillotine gate so we can get into the entrance pen. Now in the entrance pen, they go another 100 feet down the other way to get to the guillotine gate that lets them into the handling shed. I'm looking through the window right there and opening the guillotine gate right now. And now he's going into box 1. Normally this would be open all the way to the back. So all the boxes are open so then we can close them in each box. But I'm just showing you here how this works. Now Isaac's looking through the windows, letting him into box 3. Again into box 4. Now we're down to the corner. It's going to turn a right angle to the right, up the ramp, and into the scale here. Okay, now we're into box 4. He went up the ramp. That door pushes him in to the scale. Now he's on the scale. He's a whole 106 pounds. Now the door opens to the chute. Isaac's just outside there. Now he's in the chute. A little hard for a person to get through there, but Isaac will open his. Normally we wouldn't open the doors like this until we drop the floor. I'm about to drop the floor in a second here, as Caleb's patiently waiting for me. Now I just dropped the floor. The head would go just on the other side of those bars. And then when we're ready to let him out, we open the guillotine gate into the 8-foot by 8-foot room, and then the guillotine gate that goes outside. I drop him down, and now he can hit the floor running. Out the exit door, there's the gate that was closed, puts that guillotine gate in the corner, and all the way back to the pens.
If you recall last podcast, we mentioned that we were going to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, unfortunately, it was pretty much all bad. We did not get the deer ran through, and we lost one of our best and favorite deer in the meantime. We're going to go through the story of exactly what we did and the lessons learned, and I'll explain what I will do different for the next time we try to run them, and what we're going to do this time for the vaccinations that didn't get given. But yes, unfortunately, Gemma, 2333, passed away Saturday morning. And it was mainly because of she ran into a fence extremely hard. And we'll explain the whole story as we go here. But she's no longer with us, and it's probably one of the hardest things for a new deer farmer to go through is losing their first deer. So, Aaron?
Yeah. We're just going to kind of explain from the very beginning why we were even handling in the beginning. So Isaac, do you want to explain why we were going to?
Yeah. So that Saturday, we were going to run our deer into our handling facility for vaccinations. We were going to run them through for a deworming, and then it was another vaccination that would pass on to the fawns. What was that called again?
It was called Merck Guardian. It's for about 7 different vaccinations. One mainly for scours with the fawns, basically diarrhea.
Yeah, and it was a good day to do it, and we were hoping to get it done before they start having fawns because it's coming up soon. So.
Yep.
And they are looking really pregnant.
Yes,
Yes, they are. Yep, looking big.
But yeah, so we in the morning, Isaac and my dad, they were out in the pens or handling pens, making sure everything looked good, doing final setup things. We started off by opening up all of the boxes in our handling facility. Besides, we have this little corner piece. I'll show pictures. But there was a corner piece that we left closed before it made it to our ramp and scale that led into the chute. But then once we had opened all those, we opened up the guillotine gate that led into the pens before the facility. And my dad and I had gone out to the big pen that they were sitting in, and we started to push them in.
Keep in mind, we let them into that handling pen the night before. We gave them food, we gave them water, we gave them hay, everything they needed to get them used to the handling pens. That's what every farmer told me to do as a new deer farmer is get them used to being in those pens up into the barn. So we did that, and so then you can.
And they were going up there all night. We saw them.
They ate. We saw they eat. Yep. They ate, and they drank 5 gallons of water.
Mm-hmm. So we go out, we start pushing them towards the handling pens, and they started running there. We got them into the first handling pen. Our handling pens are 2 long, skinny pens, and we pushed them through the first guillotine gate, got them into the second one, and we had just made that new gate. We had closed that, and then we had closed the guillotine gate, so they were only in that first pen. And from there, things already started not to go very well. They got very stressed out, and they started running around and going crazy. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, well, this is where some of the mistakes that I made, I guess, not realizing it was a mistake at that point. What we ended up doing was, so they went in what I call the entrance / I guess this would be considered the exit in the end, and the entrance is on the opposite side of it, runs parallel. The 2 pens run parallel. Mm-hmm. So we ran them in the exit pen down to the other end into the entrance pen. And then the goal there was just open up the guillotine gates, and then I was going to follow up behind them, and I was going to slowly push them in to the door into the boxes. Well, I left Aaron on the one end to run the guillotine gates and run the exit pen gate, so when they were all done, that they would be able to go back out to their pen. I went under the guillotine gate into the entrance pen, and they did not like that. That was not something that I should have done. So there's one of the mistakes that I made is I should have stayed out of there and probably just let them calm down, maybe put something through the window to push them into the corner rather than get in there with them and try to push them in. So what happened is they all went down to that far end where the gate was, but instead of going through the guillotine gate into the barn, they came running straight back at me. Mm-hmm. I wasn't worried about getting run over. I mean, that was no big deal. However, they were coming fast. And Gemma was the first one right in front of me, and she couldn't go through the gate. I was standing in front of her to get back out, so she decided to take one big, hard, fast leap and hit the fence. Came down, landed on her side, and she got back up, and everything was fine. It seemed to be fine anyway. And then 2 of them actually followed suit. But Sunny and I believe it was Ruby. Yeah. They also hit that fence, but they both came down on their feet, and they were fine. But they all hit it pretty hard. As you talk to different farmers, these are one of the things everybody kind of warns me of is you are going to have deer run into fences. You're going to have deer run into fences and break their necks and die when they run into fences. It's just part of deer farming, and you do as a deer farmer as much as you possibly can to prepare for that moment, and hopefully it just doesn't happen because you've prepared. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, you can prepare all you want, and it doesn't matter. Things go wrong, and you don't know how, you don't know when, but they do, and it surprises you because you thought you were ready. So, well, at this point, everybody was fine. They were all running around. They were fine. But what I said is, Aaron, open this gate back up. And I went back out that gate, ran down to the end. They came out and went back out to the pen. They were too stressed out and too jacked up to try to work them at that point. We thought we'll just run them back out into the pen and they'll be fine, and we'll try again later. So then I would say maybe a half hour later, my idea was, okay, they were calmed down again. Let's just walk slow. We'll walk them into that, all the way up into the entrance pen, and do it like we should have started doing it, and left them in that entrance pen without trying to get them in the barn.
Yeah.
But we left the door open, the guillotine gate open, so they could get in there. Well, they all went in there, no problem, just like we wanted them to. And Gemma was the first one in. Then Daisy, and I think it was either Fern or Clover went in with. Isaac was the one running inside the horseshoe in the barn, and he was the one that was going to, shut them off into their boxes, and then we could sort them and send them through the chute, vaccinate, and send them back out. Simple. I've done this a number of times at Brad's place. It seemed to be very simple.
Yeah.
Well, when the other two ran back out, Daisy and Clover or Fern, whoever it was, they ran back out before we could get the exterior gate shut to keep the three in there. We were just going to work. I thought, okay, Gemma's in there. We're going to work her and get her out of there instead of keep her in there, and then we'll just get the other ones in when we could. Well, I was in the end ready for her to come up into the scale, get a weight on her, put her through the chute, and she staggered around like a deer on ice up the ramp, and she just couldn't make it up the ramp. I yelled to Isaac, open all the gates, and let her back out fast as you can, get them out. And she just didn't make it out the last door. She fell right before the last door, right before the guillotine gate, and from there she never woke up. So
Yeah.
that's it. And so we lost the first deer we tried to run, and did the rest of them run back out to the pen, or did they? I don't know. Did we chase them back out there, or did we just leave it open and let them go? I don't recall, because I was on the inside at that point.
We had opened everything up, and then they all ran
Let them
out.
all back out.
Well, actually, we opened everything up, and only 3 of them ran out. 3 of them stayed in, and then
Okay. Well,
I think you stood up on a ladder to check,
I remember.
and then they ran out.
I remember.
All
Yeah,
of them
because
ran out.
we saw 3 of them out in the pen, so they all got back out. But 2 of them stayed up in there, and at this point, we were done. We were not running any more deer. It hit everybody. We all realized what happened. So, we were. I made a call to Austin at Badger State, and just to see, because at that point we didn't know yet. We assumed that she was just stressed out and tired, so we didn't realize yet that she had passed. So we were hoping she was just going to pop out of it, right? So I gave her a half hour, hoping she'd just kind of get out of it and get back up. And I found a spot to look in with the binoculars, and she wasn't getting back up. So and then after that, of course, we didn't want to run them anymore. And now, of course, I'm like run the deer shy, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to run the deer at this point. So we took care of that situation. The rest of the day, that's what we did. The rest of the day was we did what we needed to do, and we will explain what you need to do if a deer passes on that is 12 months older. And we've got some forms, and we'll show that in another episode. And that's a CWD thing. We'll have a CWD episode and it's going to be more of a, here's what you do when you need to be CWD certified, and what you do with a deer that passes on that needs to get tested. Mm-hmm. We went to the Barron UW-Madison vet clinic where they're doing the testing, and we've got some footage of that. And we've got some people that want to actually come on the podcast and explain what they do there. So that's for some future podcast stuff. But I guess really with the rest of the day, it was just kind of, it's been a really long week. Mm-hmm. It's gone extremely slow, and we did take care of the animal, and now we're moving on, trying to figure out what we're going to do. With that being said, I guess we can keep talking about this over and over, and it's not that easy to talk about, but we thought we would definitely bring it to everybody to show the things that can happen. Now, as far as the lessons go, we went through what Isaac's job was, and Aaron, he was the one that basically doing all the filming of this and helping us as needed. And my wife, Joy, was also in the barn, and she was there to write down weights, and she was there to make sure, just watch and learn and things like that.
She's the scientist of the crew.
Right.
Yep.
She's the scientist. She's a chemistry and biology teacher. But with that being said as well, we also had our 10-year-old Caleb with us. And, for him, it was his first animal loss. Yeah. So it was tough. The things that I learned, here, I'm going to break it right down. The things that I did, we can call it a mistake, but I kind of look at it as a lesson learned, something I didn't see coming, something that I didn't realize would happen, but did. One of the things that I said in the last podcast was there was a spot, and I need to pull that up, and we can show that on this, but there's a spot in the handling facility that when you open the entrance door and you open the exit door, there should be a tunnel that connects those two. And I chose not to put it in because I wasn't thinking about the deer needing to go in there the night before and be able to go into the tunnels and go through and go back out and feel comfortable going in the guillotine gates and things like that. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking that if I wanted a deer to come in and I didn't want it to go through the whole system, I can branch it off, and I wanted to put a buck in the 8x8 dorm there that they usually exit in. That's what I was thinking when I didn't put it in. It was brought to my attention after the fact that is there for the reason of being able to let the deer come in and out of the facility on their own the night before, a couple nights before, as many times as you want to let them go in there so they're comfortable. I didn't do that. So that will definitely be fixed. There needs to be 2 guillotine gates and a tunnel made, another box made to connect those two in the beginning. The other major thing was me thinking I could get in that entrance pen and walk them nice and calmly up to the barn, and that was a mistake. I shouldn't have got into that pen, and maybe things would have turned out differently. Those are the 2 major things. There's 2 other things that were on the plan, but I didn't think were as important, and Isaac made it very clear that it was important for him. I didn't have lights in the box. We had just had big windows that you could open up and you could see in there. Plenty of light would get in there at that point. And the other thing that I know I'm going to do from here forward, and we're going to get it installed, is we're going to have Wi-Fi put into the facility. We're going to put cameras in each box, and we're going to have a spot right above the chute that you can watch each box and what deer are in there. To me, that might be too high tech for it. That might be something most people don't do, but that's something I am going to do. So at any given time, I can tell what's in all those boxes, light or no light. I can tell they're in there. So that is a plan as well. So those are the things that I'm absolutely going to change before we even try to run. So what we're doing instead is we're going to top cover the feed with a dewormer instead of use the Dectomax, which is the dewormer we were going to inject, and the Guardian, the Merc Guardian for all the other things, the scours and things like that. We're darting that with the dart gun. So far, I've got 3 of the 6 that are left darted, and that's gone well. I have learned definitely that you're still scared to work them even that way. I'm out there watching them, and I was told they might limp if you got them in the shoulder or whatever. And one's in the shoulder, 2 of them are in the base of the neck, top of the back. I believe it went in properly and where we needed it to. But one of them showing, she's limping a little bit and she's acting all funny and running around. And I was told that they were going to feel a little different. They're going to act a little different. But you need to be ready for that, because it also feels like, especially after losing one, you're like, oh, I don't want to do something else. And that's what it kind of feels like. So, so anything you do after that first loss, just like this one, especially the way this one went, feels like, is it the right thing? And I asked a lot of people. I got on the phone right away after all this happened. So that's kind of the long and short of what happened the first time we ran deer through the handling facility. And just, I don't know. I'll never forget it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And moving forward, like this is a learning experience. So I mean, things are gonna hopefully go better from now on.
Yep.
Actually, I think, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but not only is it Caleb's first animal loss, isn't it yours?
Yeah.
Well, technically, I mean, we had a cat.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. We
It's
did
just
have
a cat, right?
but-
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. Okay. You're right. We
But it
did.
was-
we did.
yeah.
You're right. You're right. We did. But really, it's one of those. Yeah. Again, it's that experience you're going through with your family. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and this is definitely the ugly. So, moving on.
Yeah. On a better note, we're also next episode going to be talking about post pounding and fence layout, or actually building a fence, I believe.
Well, yeah, I would say we should go through how to. We went through the fence layout in last episode, and if we weren't going to run the deer this time and have this exciting episode that we were planning on having,
Yeah.
right? Exciting, successful episode, I guess we were hoping for. That is the next thing, is to start laying out the posts, start pounding the posts, start hanging fence, and start making what looks like a deer farm, not just what happens in your head every day when you're thinking about it, because that's what it is. You're building it in your head. At least I did, and I know you guys were too. It's like, okay, it's all up here. Now let's get it out here. Right?
Yeah.
So
that'll be the next episode, and we'll probably get Caleb on here because he actually helped. That's the first time I think he started to get his hands dirty on the farm.
Yeah.
yeah, and he's got his hands dirty the entire time after that, and it was really nice working with my 10-year-old and my other two. It was a blast building. We were working sun up to sundown, right?
Yeah.
All right, now let's get to the featured buck of the week.
The featured buck of the week is Boss from Badger State Whitetails, owned by Bob and Austin Schaff in Chautauqua, Wisconsin. Let's get into the buck breakdown. Boss at Codon 96 is an SS with a GEBV of .110. He's a very proven buck with a great lineage. Let's take a look.
Boss's NADAR number is 335464. His ear tag is green 24, and he was born in 2019. Let's look at his lineage. On his bottom side, we've got Gladiator's Revenge, Gladiator's Hammer, King Kong, Gladiator, Shadow, Kingpin, P.A. Geronimo. Then if you look way back, you've got Mo, you've got 103, Max Bow. I mean, there's Max Bow Thicket, Savage, Studley. There's just a lot of really good proven animals that go a long ways back. If we go up to his top side, his sire is Judge's Prodigy, The Judge, W615,
Bambi 2028,
Bub, Double Trouble, 2020, Rio, and then Bambi Double Drop, Buford, Rio, Flacco. So again, when you've got an animal that is old enough to be proven, and then he's got big, typical or non-typical, whatever you're looking for, this happens to be a very beautiful typical buck, big main frame, massive. He doesn't have a lot of stickers to him. He's just a really nice, good-looking, typical deer that anybody would want to have in their breeding program. We'll also go over now his offspring that Aaron is going to cover. And then after that, we're going to go through the daughter's offspring of Boss. So one other statistic that we don't often get to see
as to how proven an animal is or how much of a producer an animal is to see the daughters and how much they produce of that specific buck. So Boss I have 3 pictures of Boss daughter yearlings. Here's one. He's 194-inch SS at 1 year old. Here's another one, 122. He's a yearling. And here's another yearling. As you can clearly see, Boss and his offspring all produce very, very well.
If you want to introduce Boss genetics into your breeding program, make sure to contact Bob and Austin Schaff at 602-653-6521 or badgerstatewhitetails@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Raising Whitetails podcast. If you have any topics that you want us to cover, make sure to leave it down in the comments. As well as make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on that notification bell so you can see all the content we post. Thank you guys for watching.
We'll see you next time.
And remember, a healthy deer is a happy deer, and a happy deer is a live deer.